Hey girl, it's good to see you. How have you been? The he is miracle food. It's the best for detoxing, cleansing, healing, removing inflammation, and boosting your immune system. It's suitable for all ages, and it helps me out tremendously during pregnancy. Allergen-free, gluten-free, 100% organic, all natural, and vegan. Chakradoctor.org. 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 818-429-1675.
But it's been going on long before that, brother. But it's until we decide that we don't need to be forcing and fighting our way to be up under them, it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep happening. We've shocked and appalled every time it happens, but we've seen it 1,000 times.
Right. Now you made a video about Nick Cannon going over this whole thing about, how he, pretty much had to go back and get his show. And that was another, example. Example was made of Nick Cannon. In your opinion, what do you think Nick Cannon should have done? Do you think he should have left and, maybe joined in with a black company like Revolt or one of them? How do you feel about the Nick Cannon situation?
Yeah, my first thing was to make sure that we didn't throw Nick Cannon under the bus or treat him in a way that was disrespectful or call him a sellout or anything of that nature. Because one thing that I did mention in that video is that until you walk in a person's shoes, you really don't know. Yeah. Now I feel confident to say what I would do or wouldn't do, but then a lot of people they might not. Nick in another angle that wasn't really talked about a lot was the fact that Nick employs a lot of people. So sometimes people will say, I take this hit because I got money, I'm good. But these people that work for me, they were dependent on that particular position. Now, does that make it all right to still adhere to the demands of the Jewish community and take that? I would say no. But on the same token, he was probably looking out for people that he was employing that needed that check. I think that, again, the same way I just mentioned with as far as with the rappers and the athletes and the team, if we separate and create our own, the people will migrate towards that. So yeah, he could have did it on his own. He could have said, well, let me try to go with I think Diddy offered him a spot on Revolt. Let me try to explore another option. But a lot of times as Black people, we kind of get caught up in this mentality that what they have to offer is better than what we could do for ourselves. And that's not the case. That's not always the case. Our brother right here in Houston, man, Trader Truth, he got banned from a Radio 1 station, 97.9 banned him a few years back for an incident that took place that he wasn't even at fault about. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people distanced themselves from Trey simply because they were artists that didn't want to lose their radio play. They didn't want to lose their spot on that particular station. But my stance then was, but look, if all of the rappers get together and say, well, we all standing with Trey, we're not dealing with it, the people ain't gonna ride with the station. They're gonna ride with the artist because that's who's motivating, that's who's inspiring them, that's who's putting out the good music. So we just gotta trust the process of, look, man, the people are gonna rock with us. We just have to have the courage to take the step.
Powerful. Now, another thing that they the powers that be, or whatever you want to call them, they like to throw on us as a Black community is, oh, well, look at what y'all do to each other. Look at the violence that y'all do. Look at this, look at that. Never really understanding or getting to the source as to why. Mm-hmm. But then we see things in hip hop. The murders we're seeing in hip hop, the shootings we're seeing in hip hop. We had talked about a story yesterday with Sci had a Prince out in Georgia, driving, not bothering anybody, not having any enemies, on a high speed chase, getting gunned down, gets into a car crash, dude still shooting at him. Scary situation. We see what Mo3 just went through, Bootsy, Benny the Butcher, the list goes on and on. So in the same token, we know that obviously there's a underlying reasoning as to why we're so violent towards each other, but at the same token, we're still violent towards each other. Talk about that, in particular in hip hop, the violence that we've seen and the rash of violence down south that we've seen in hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you hit the nail on the head. there's a underlying source to why we do what we do. Our condition dictates our actions in a lot of ways. We have been behind the 8 ball since we got in this country, and hip hop has been a means that's being used for us to kind of get out of that situation. Now, the other side to that, bro, is personal responsibility that we have to take as grown men and women, because regardless of the condition that we were in, that's still something that we can't continue to just lean on once we are old enough and wise enough and responsible enough to understand that that ain't the move. These ain't the things that we need to be doing to each other. So there is a balance of the original condition that was caused by the oppressor and the personal responsibility that we have to take. We don't have that self-love for each other. We are wrapped up in envy and hatred of each other, and we are wrapped up in pettiness in terms of hey man, I don't like this guy because of the side of town he from. I don't like this guy because of what color he wears or things of that nature. And everybody got families. That's the thing we got to look at. And if you are an artist, if you're not an artist, if you're just an individual, man, that's just out here, in that world, you got to think about your own family. It's people that depend on you that want to see you come home every night. It's people that depend on you that from a financial standpoint that you support. So you have to decide what's more important. Is it more important for me to be out in these streets and trying to present myself in a certain way to impress some cats that really could care less about me? If I go to jail, if I die, they're going to show up at the funeral, cry for a little bit, and they're going to get back to business as usual. If I'm locked up, they're going to maybe show me some love for a little while, but after a while, that's going to dissipate, and ain't nobody going to be there but your mama. So you got to make a decision to say, man, what's more important in the long run, and look at the big picture. Like, man, you want to grow old, man. You want to grow old, and you don't get but one. So to young people, you don't want to waste your life behind what somebody said about you, what somebody felt about you. It's not that serious, man. You've already made it out. You made it out. So that's the side that we have to take on. But again, like you said, but at the root of it, this condition was not only formed by the oppressor, but it was intentionally formed by the oppressor. They did it on purpose. They knew exactly what was going to happen based on the conditions they created.
Now, a lot of people don't bring your name up. A lot of people talk about the Ghetto Boys, but you're just as much as a forefather as they are, especially in the Houston, hip hop scene. Could you talk about your humble beginnings and, being a forefather of the Houston rap scene?
Yeah, man. I started in '83. I picked up the pen for the first time in 1983. And I put my first record out in 1987. I was still in high school. And while my record in the group I was in, a group called Real Chill, that wasn't the first rap record to come out of Houston, but I'm safe in saying it was probably in the top 5. Of course, the Ghetto Boys, the first set of Ghetto Boys under Jay Prince and Rap A Lot, they came out. They were probably in that top 3 of groups to ever put some out, because there was a couple that came out before them. But I started an organization called the South Park Coalition in 1987, and just a group of guys from my hood. And then we expanded to other hoods and other cities, man. And we've been going strong for 30 plus years. And I just been blessed, bro. I've been blessed to see Houston start at nothing and to elevate, go through the levels and the stages that all of you guys have seen it go through and to where it is now. So not many people can speak on the history better than a person who actually lived and walked through it.
Curious to know, you said you started writing rhymes in '83, had your album out slowly after that. What was the sound like in Houston at that time? Do you have East Coast rap kind of budding and coming into its own? Obviously, people out west are doing their thing, but at the time, your normal hip hop ear or your casual hip hop ear didn't know